So these were the scenes yesterday in Israel after the missile attack from Iran. 180 missiles coming directly from Iran. And these are the scenes on the markets in response to what happened in Israel. You've got Bitcoin back at 61,000. You've got the altcoins getting completely nuked. I think the big question on everyone's mind is, are we going into World War III? And what is Bitcoin going to do here? How does Bitcoin actually respond to attacks, invasions, wars? How does crypto respond? So I think that's what we're going to deal with on today's show. We're going to talk about whether or not we're heading for World War III, or whether this is just another escalation, and whether or not we should worry holding crypto, or is this a real buy the dip opportunity? Is this something that we should actually be buying? That's what today's about. So let's get going, guys. So I must admit, the scenes were actually really scary last night. Watching it, phoning friends in Israel, watching things like this. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, the scenes were absolutely crazy. But luckily, not many casualties. Iran says there were not many casualties actually by design, and Israel says it was because of their military capabilities. Yeah, I mean, either way, that's what we're going to be discussing today. Whether or not we should be worried, whether or not this is a buy the dip opportunity. Are we still getting Uptober? Because everyone said Uptober. Is there still an Uptober if there's going to be a World War III? And actually, is there going to be a World War III? So that's what today is all about. Before we start the show, I'm just going to remind you that you have 3 days left. You have, what's today? Is today Tuesday or Wednesday? It's Wednesday, right? Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to get yourself a big package. And if you do, not only do you get the most incredible Ledger Nano, the new Ledger, which is this one over here, but you also get a chance of getting the big package and then getting a second package absolutely free. All you do, you go to the link below, which is under the show, and you go to the Ledger section. Click on this Ledger over here, and you can buy either one of these, and you could get a second one absolutely free sent to your door. But that ends on Friday, so it's today, tomorrow, and Friday. If you wanted to take your crypto off exchanges and to keep it safe, this is the safest place and the most elegant place to keep it. I mean, it's just a beautiful piece of technology. Like, it's unbelievable. Anyway, let's get into the show. I'm going to count on you guys to smash the likes. Yesterday, we got like 3,220 likes. Let's see what we get today. I'm leaving it in your hands. You leave the alpha in my hands. I leave the likes in your hands. So where are we? I mean, this is what, as I said to you, this is where we are. We had these 180 missiles essentially come from Iran, who were avenging the death of Nasrallah, who was the head of Hezbollah, a terrorist organization. And so yesterday, in the revenge for his death, or in the revenge of his death, you had Iran fired 180 ballistic missiles at Israel. Now, what that's done is it sent Bitcoin and actually all risk markets down quite a bit. Bitcoin was trading at 66,800, and we were doing quite well. When we were live yesterday, all of a sudden we went down as low as $60,000, and I think we've bounced back quite a bit, $61,000. In terms of liquidations, about $500 million was liquidated, and about $1.5 billion of leverage was actually closed, which means that about $1 billion of leverage was closed on ETH and Bitcoin, and about $500 million was actually liquidated, so forced liquidations. In terms of how that ranks, it's the largest liquidation day since August the 5th. And if you look at the market, it wasn't only about liquidations and people closing their leverage, but it's actually one of the biggest outflow days for the Bitcoin ETF. $242 million was actually the net outflow from the Bitcoin ETFs yesterday, which just shows that when this escalation happened, the market went into risk-off mode. The entire market went into risk-off mode. Someone says big package. So, I mean, guys, you don't understand. When you walk around the gym and people see your big package, they don't believe that you're carrying such a big package in you. It's been quite liberating. It's been quite amazing. So, okay, so that's the story. So the markets were quite scared. We had a leverage flash because people in crypto were talking about Uptober. because they were so confident that there was going to be an Uptober. They took leverage, and now it always happens. You get a leverage flash, and that's what happened in the beginning of October. We got a leverage flash. From a structural point of view, to be honest, not really that worrying. In fact, not really worrying at all. I mean, if you look at the structure, number one, that's just a breakout and a retest. You can see right now as it stands, that was the perfect retest. You want to see a retest like that after a trend breakout. Also, as we said yesterday, usually the beginning of October isn't so good, and the beginning of October happens about 10 days into October. So from a structural point of view, actually this is exactly what happens every single time. In 2020, on the 8th of October, Uptober started. On 2016, the 11th of October, it started. 𝗟𝗢𝗦𝗡𝗏 did the analysis. We spoke about that analysis yesterday. And I suppose that if everybody was expecting Uptober, it's only logical for the whales and the market makers to come for a leverage hunt, which is exactly what they did. They came for the leverage hunt. There were over 2,000 tweets about Uptober. Everyone was convinced it was Uptober. What do you do as a market maker or a leverage hunter when everyone's talking about October? You smash the leverage guys, because when everyone's thinking the same thing, you come in and you do exactly the opposite. Now, what I said yesterday and what I say again today is the following. Unless you believe that this is the beginning of World War III, then you should start buying. And to be honest, I started buying and it was at 61,660. It's a bit lower than that now. And of course, I'm not trying to catch the bottom, because I once had a friend who was trying to pick a bottom, got shit all over his fingers. So you don't try and pick a bottom. You try and get close enough to the bottom as you possibly can without actually touching the bottom. That's what you do. And so I said, look, unless you think this is really the beginning of World War III, you should actually be buying these dips. Because what we know for sure is that generally markets respond and recover pretty quickly from these kind of attacks. So this is a little overview of some of the previous attacks. Let's look at Russia invades Ukraine. You can see that in the 10-day return, the markets usually go up. Bitcoin was down 6%, but in the 60-day return, markets are usually green after these breakouts. And actually what I'll show you later is that usually when the invasion happens, that is the bottom of the market, usually. And then from there, it usually goes up. So generally, the way I see it though, is even though Iran had to do something, because what they couldn't do, they can't show weakness. They can't allow Israel to systematically eliminate an entire terrorist organization, which is, I think, almost certainly backed by Iran, and not actually respond. And if you've been following the coverage in the Middle East for the last couple of days and weeks, what you would have seen is that Israel did in the last 2 weeks, basically eliminated the entire Hezbollah movement. Initially through the pages and the beepers that where they essentially sabotaged or ambushed them by using their beepers to actually explode. And then they sent them all a message at the same time, every single Hezbollah person, and blew up the beepers in their faces and on their bodies. And then through a systematic approach of actually tracking the people, actually eliminated the entire Hezbollah leadership. And so Iran had to do something to avenge the death of these leaders and this attack on Israel. And so that's what yesterday was about. It was quite scary. I mean, as you can see, it was quite scary. But Iran had to do something. And now you've got to ask yourself whether you think that this is the end of the world and the beginning of World War III, or whether you think that the worst is over and Iran has now done its thing and that's it. That's the end of the escalation. Because if you don't think this is World War III, then this is probably one of the best and last buying opportunities you're going to have in the market. If you do think this is World War III, then what you should do is you should probably wait for the big invasion and then you should be buying. But ultimately, either way, what you'll find is that when there are wars and stuff like that, generally the markets actually respond better, and I'll show you that in a couple of seconds. Regardless of the war or the escalation in the Middle East, which is driving up the price of oil, and we'll talk about that in a couple of seconds. What you will note, or the way I see it, this is not big enough to overshadow what is actually going on in the market. So when I say what's actually going on in the markets, this is big, but it's not big enough to overshadow the Chinese stimulus. Now, the Chinese markets are closed for a holiday, and I think the holiday is like a week-long holiday. And so what the degens are doing is they're actually buying Hong Kong because they just want it's like they set off a frenzy in the Chinese market. And now the degens are buying Hong Kong. At the same time, you got Japan basically saying, look, the prime minister saying, I want to make the economy strong with an economic package. So he's not talking about a stimulus package. Not an environment for additional rate hikes. So that's taking away the unwind of the yen cash and carry trade, which we spoke about a long time ago. So this is good. I mean, this doesn't affect China. This doesn't affect Japan. This doesn't affect the US elections, which are coming up very soon. And we'll talk about the US elections in a second. And this doesn't really, well, I suppose it could affect the Fed's ability to reduce interest rates. And the reason why I say it could affect the Fed's ability to reduce interest rates is because of the oil price. What you'll notice is that oil has gone, look, it's not really a big spike in the oil price. To be honest, it's from 70 to 75. It's not even a 10% spike in the oil price. This doesn't reek of war, right? But in terms of the oil price, this is a threat to the US being able to reduce rates very quickly. Why? Because if oil goes up, the price of shipping goods goes up. And if the price of shipping goods goes up and the price of manufacturing goes up, then generally the price of goods will go up. And then so will the inflation rate. And if the inflation goes up, then Powell won't be able to reduce interest rates as quickly. So we're looking at the crude oil chart, but we're also going to look at the CME group to see how the odds have changed. Let's have a look. So the probabilities, so we're back to a one interest rate cut, then a break, and then another one before the end of, another one at the end of the year. So generally, we do have to keep our eyes on the oil chart because the oil chart is the one thing that can derail all of these things. But generally, like as Miles says, the Fed pivoted with a 50 basis point rate cut. China is stimulating the economy. Global liquidity is going to continue rising. FTX distributions are going to begin. Q4 is historically very, very good. And the election is just 1 month away. So I think the way Miles sees it is probably the right way. And that is that this is a gift. This dips in this kind of market are a gift. Unless you think there's going to be World War III, I'm almost willing to guarantee you that the markets are going to be up again in a week. And so I think Lady of Crypto has a point when she says, my advice, get off Twitter, close your charts, come back in a week or so, and everything will be better. Unless you're buying, in which case you want to be here and you want to be doing it right now. That's the way that it is. So that is how we see this dip. We're not scared by this dip. We're not scared by this dip at all, to be honest. It's a gift. If you're buying, it's a gift. If you're on leverage, it's not such a gift. But if you're buying, it's an absolute gift. Actually, speaking of leverage, whoa. Let's talk about this now before we get into our coverage. Remember we spoke about the World Series of Trading. It's the biggest trading competition that's ever happened. It's a $10 million prize for the World Series of Trading competition with ByBit. So it's now happened. It is it's the World Series of Trading, and we have a team in the World Series of Trading competition. So what you need to do is sign up with any ByBit link. And Josh, can we put up a sign up link here so people can actually sign up? And then what you got to do is you got to join our team. So you got to press the button here and join our team, right? We want to build the biggest English-speaking team in the world. And if we do the biggest English-speaking team in the world, then we have a bigger chance of winning the $10 million, which is actually shared amongst the team members. So let's do it. Let's go all in on this, and actually let's win this. Let's make sure that we actually win. So I'm counting on you guys. Josh, can we put a sign-up link there for people who don't have accounts? If you do have accounts, just join our team. Join the Crypto Banter team. The actual trading starts in 7 days. So anyway, sign up as quickly as you possibly can and join our team. And let's make this the strongest team in the world, the Banter team, strongest team in the world. Someone says, show us your package again. Yeah, I want to show you my package. 1 second. So look here. It's quite like a big package, right? It's big, massive, eh? That's what the girls at the gym said. They said it's a massive, massive, massive package. So if you want a package like this, until Friday. Friday, there's no more double packages. Anyway, let's carry on. I think let's spend maybe 2 minutes just talking about Israel and the war yesterday. So, as I said, these were the scenes. Quite scary. I'll show you some of the scenes. You all saw this. Israel has this piece of technology called the Iron Dome. Now, what the Iron Dome is, it is another bunch of missiles which are basically attack missiles which are coming into Israel. And I guess for these kind of ballistic missiles and for this frequency of ballistic missiles, the Iron Dome is pretty much ineffective here. And I think that the way that Israel fights these kind of missiles is using air defense. But you can't fight 200 missiles flying in at the same time. And as I said before, I mean, here's some more coverage of it. Here's some more. So that's the coverage. Now, according to Israel, there haven't been any casualties or fatalities, barring one. And I have a video of the one, but I'm just very scared to show it on YouTube because I think if I show it, then the show may actually get banned. So I mean, actually, I don't think I should show it. I think it would be. But there's been one. There was only one fatality so far, and I think what you got to admit is that when there is just one fatality in something like this, Israel says it's because of their capabilities, and Iran says it's because of design. Iran says, look, we didn't target civilians, we only target Air Force bases and stuff like that. What I think as well here is that, as this guy says Iran fired missiles at Israel to take revenge for the killing of Hassan Nasrallah. It appears that now Israel have a reason to attack Iran and may destroy its nuclear facilities. And that's what I think the game of 3D chess is happening here. The game of 3D chess here is that Israel probably needed an excuse. Israel and America probably needed an excuse to attack Iran. And they probably knew when they killed Nasrallah that Iran would actually retaliate. Because Iran has to retaliate. They can't just sit there and keep quiet. And so I think that what's happening here is we're going to get another strike by the US and Israel saying, look, you targeted Israel, you shot 200 missiles into Israel, that's not allowed, and then bang, they're going to destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities. So I do think that there is a game of 3D chess going on here. And I think that we should watch out because I was listening to the spokesperson from the Israeli Defense Force. Here is what he said.
Iran launched a large-scale attack of over 180 ballistic missiles directly from Iranian soil at the state of Israel. There were a small number of hits in the center of Israel and some other hits in the southern Israel. The majority of the incoming missiles were intercepted by Israel and a defensive coalition led by the United States. Iran's attack is a severe and dangerous escalation. There will be consequences. Our defensive and offensive capabilities are at the highest levels of readiness. Our operational plans are ready. We will respond wherever, whenever, and however we choose, in accordance with the directive of the government of Israel. Iran and its proxies have been attacking Israel since the 7th of October on 7 fronts. Iran and its proxies seek the destruction of Israel. The Israel Defense Forces will continue doing everything necessary to defend the state of Israel and protect the people of Israel.
So again, Israel vowing that they're going to respond. Netanyahu said, Iran made a big mistake and they will pay for it. So, I mean, there is probably going to be some kind of escalation. Now, again, I've gone back to other wars. And what you can see with most wars is at the minute that there is an invasion, that's the beginning of when markets actually start running. So I'm not saying that war is a good thing. I think that there's lots of human life, and I think it's sad times, as _𝗙𝗧 says. Regardless of the fact that I am Israeli, I don't believe in wars, and I don't believe in Israel invading Iraq or Iran invading Israel or Israel invading Iran. Wars are not good for anyone. And regardless of whether it's Palestinians or Arabs or Jewish bodies that we see being removed, I don't think that anyone should be celebrating because ultimately most of the bodies of the people that are removed are not even, these are people that don't even want the war, aren't even involved in the war. And if it was up to them, probably wouldn't even want the war to actually happen. And so I think I do see some people on Twitter celebrating the fact that Israeli lives are lost, celebrating the fact that Palestinians' lives are lost. I think that any celebration that any life is lost is a big problem. Anyway, someone says, Axel Bitplay says, I'm selling here, World War III is here. And he's right, he says, don't let this Israel-Iran conflict trick you into thinking that World War III is around the corner. Even if things escalate, generally these things work themselves out pretty quickly, and it's very, very, very rare that we're going to get World War III. In fact, I'm going to remind you that World War II was like 70 years ago, or even more, 80 years ago. And so since then, we haven't really had a world war. And even when everybody said that if Russia invades Ukraine, it's going to be a world war. Russia have been fighting Ukraine now for how many years? 2 years? And it's not a world war. It's just an escalation and a de-escalation, an escalation and a de-escalation, an escalation and a de-escalation. That's what it's about. And so I don't think this is the beginning of World War III. And that's why I think that probably this is a good time to be buying the dip. And that's why I started actually buying the dip yesterday. I think Zoom Oracle has the right sentiment. He said, missiles this, missiles that, just buy the dip. Just buy the dip and stuff you. That's what it is. So I think he's right. But what I do think also, and this is very much the right winger in me coming out saying, you know, the truth is, we shouldn't even be here. We shouldn't even be here. And that's what Elon Musk also said. He said, having a weak president is dangerous to world security. And that's in response to a tweet that said, the situation in the Middle East is as dangerous as it's been in a long time, and the US president has no functional brain, and the vice president is focused solely on ascending to power. We are thus again faced with the question of who is making decisions for the US government. Truth is, I don't think that the US have been very resolute about their position here. And I think that if we had a stronger president, the stronger president should and would have to, in the US, should deal with stuff like this and make sure it doesn't get to this level. So I tweeted yesterday, I said, look, the US really needs a president soon because I don't actually have a president. Like they've got Biden, but Biden's asleep. And then they've got Kamala Harris. I mean, look, she's not a president. She's a vice president at best. Now, I mean, this is her statement afterwards. Notice how she's reading and doesn't even know what the hell's going on.
I'm clear-eyed. Iran is a destabilizing, dangerous force in the Middle East, and today's attack on Israel only further demonstrates that fact. Earlier today, I was in the Situation Room with President Biden and our national security team as we monitored the attack in real time and ensured that the protection of U.S. personnel in the region is paramount. I fully support President Biden's order for the U.S. military to shoot down Iranian missiles targeting Israel, just as we did in April. We are still assessing the impact, but initial indications are that Israel, with our assistance, was able...
You can see that she's actually reading because you can see that she stops her... We are still assessing. She's reading. She doesn't care about what she's reading. She's reading a script that somebody actually gave her. And I think that that's not very presidential. And I think that right now the United States need a president. Now, for me right now, I would take President Trump over what there is. But I don't care who the president is. I just think that the US needs a strong president. Because you cannot be the world superpower and not have a president. It just doesn't work. And I think that the US hasn't had a president for a very long time. I think Joe Biden has been missing in action for a very long time. Much longer than I think we're all led to believe. And so we need a new president. And I mean, look, the data speaks for itself. This is the Bitcoin under the Trump presidency versus Bitcoin under the Biden presidency in 2016 to 2020 and in 2020 to now. So I do think that Trump will be better. Also, as I said yesterday, for me, the worst thing about Kamala and Walz in power is I don't think I can listen to Kamala for 4 years. And I share Elon's sentiment, or maybe Elon shares my sentiment, where he says that would be a cruel and unusual punishment, having to listen to her every single day on CNN, on CNBC, on Fox News, and whatever else. That's a very cruel punishment. It's like what the Chinese do is they do torture techniques, like where they put bamboo in your fingernails, and then the bamboo grows and destroys your fingernails, or when they drip water on your forehead. You know those techniques. Me listening to Kamala Harris for 4 years, I would rather have one of those torture techniques than that, to be honest. So we do need a president. I mean, speaking of presidents, so yesterday there was the debate between the vice presidents. Now, look, the vice presidents are not really they're nothing. Like a vice president is like nothing. It's like no one. Once the elections, once you've been elected to be a vice president, no one ever sees you again until the next election, or unless you are fighting like the Kamala is fighting for the presidency. So yesterday there was a debate of the vice presidents. I mean, you make your own decisions.
Governor Walz, you said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of 1989. But Minnesota Public Radio and other media outlets are reporting that you actually didn't travel to Asia until August of that year. Can you explain that discrepancy?
Yeah, well, and to the folks out there who didn't get at the top of this, look, I grew up in small rural Nebraska.
It's amazing how when you ask them questions, I grew up in a middle-class family. She asked you about whether you went to Tiananmen Square.
With your buddies till the street lights come on, and I'm proud of that service. I joined the National Guard at 17, worked on family farms, and then I used the GI Bill to become a teacher, passionate about it, a young teacher.
Bro, answer the
my
question.
first year out, I got the opportunity in the summer.
And I'll
of
take it at the end of
the impact it made, the difference it made in my life. I learned a lot about China. I hear the critiques of this. I would make the case that Donald Trump should have come on one of those trips with us. I guarantee you he wouldn't be praising Xi Jinping about COVID, and I guarantee you he wouldn't start a trade war that he ends up losing. So this is about trying to understand the world. It's about trying to do the best you can for your community, and then it's putting yourself out there and letting your folks understand what it is. My commitment, whether it be through teaching, which I was good at,
but watch,
or
this
whether
is
it was being a
the
good
slam dunk.
soldier,
It's coming
or
out.
being
It's
a
coming
good
out.
member of Congress, those are the things that I think are the values that people care about.
Governor, just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
All I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this, so I will just, that's what I said.
Basically what he means is he lied. Misspoke means I lied, okay? This is another part.
Senator, thank you. Governor, you previously opposed an assault weapons ban, but it's only later in your political career did you change your position. Why?
Yeah, I sat in that office with those Sandy Hook parents. I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA, I was an NRA guy for a long time. They used to teach gun safety. I'm of an age where my shotgun was in my car so I could pheasant on that.
I think, to be honest, I think it was a complete annihilation. I think I'm not a big JD Vance fan, to be honest, but he was good last night. Watch this.
Laura, thank you. Senator, we have so much to get to.
Margaret, I think it's important because...
We're going to turn now to the economy. Thank you.
Margaret, the rules were that you guys weren't going to fact check. And since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. So there's an application called the CBP One app.
So he started to correct the CBS people for fact checking him when they weren't supposed to be fact checking him. Anyway, I'm not gonna take you through it.
Lower inflation,
Actually,
which of course he did. Honestly, Tim, I think you got a tough job here because you've got to play whack-a-mole. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver rising take-home pay, which of course he did. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver lower inflation, which of course he did. And then you simultaneously got to defend Kamala Harris's atrocious.
I mean, just look at the look on his face. I mean, he's completely come down. So, in your opinion, who won? In my opinion, JD Vance won. Let's see how we're doing. Yes, 88% think that JD Vance actually won. Of course, the Democrats are claiming victory here, but I love Donald Trump's tweets here. It says, by the end of this debate, I'm pretty sure Walz is going to vote for JD, which is, I think that was really funny. I think that was really, really good. All right, let's talk about altcoins, because I think that's why we all came here. 5,231 people, but only 930 likes. I don't understand what's going on here. I don't know. Maybe it's my hair. Maybe I need to get better hairstyle. I don't know. Maybe it's my package. Remember packages? Okay, so I think maybe Ben Cowan was actually right again. As much as I hate to admit it, I think he may have actually be right again. Where he says, I still think dominance has one more leg up before it tops around 60%. If this war thing happens, he might actually be right. And if you look at the dominance chart, now dominance, which did break down the other day, went straight back up above the line. So now we're still above the trend. So he says we maybe get one more push up and then we go down. I mean, let's wait and see. Either way, I'm not too worried because either way, my thesis is Q4 altcoin season or better altcoin season. When we look at the altcoins today, last hour, not too bad. I see some recoveries, but during the day, not many good altcoin performances. The good performances are Wormhole, which, by the way, we told you guys last week at like 28 cents to get Wormhole, now 37.1 cents. The reason why it's done that is because South Korea's largest exchange, Upbit, listed Wormhole on the KRW pairs, which is in the Korean won pairs. And of course, when that happens, usually the Korean degens actually go and buy the tokens, right? And so that's what's happened with Wormhole. I do think it'll come down a little bit because that's what normally happens. So if you're a trader, this is probably a good time to take a little bit of a short. But if you're an investor, congratulations. If you're part of frontrunners, you would have made a lot of money. Speaking of frontrunners, we are giving away 2 tickets to come to Cosmoverse. Cosmoverse is the conference it's like the Cosmos version of Breakpoint. That's happening in Dubai between the 21st and the 23rd. You get return flights. You get accommodation with in a 5-star hotel, in the Grand Hyatt 5-star hotel. and you get to have dinner with us. So we all go for dinner. That is for people in Frontrunners. So if you're not already a member of Frontrunners, I think the waiting list is closed, but try. I think it's closed. Click here, sign up, join us. There's a lot of things happening. There's a poker tournament happening. There's obviously calls there all the time, but now we're also giving away 2 fully paid tickets to this event to go and learn about the Cosmos ecosystem and actually hang out with us. Also, we wondered why there was so much strength in XRP the other day. Well, that's because Bitwise is filing for a spot Ripple XRP ETF. I don't think it's ever going to get approved, but I mean, it's still nice to see that people actually are filing it. Mantra also doing pretty well. Why? Because they spoke about Uptober, which is, remember, they're launching their mainnet, etc., etc. So doing very, very well, holding very, very well. Let's just see if you can see it on the bubbles. The bubbles, there it is, up 5.83% today. So not bad in a down day. Wow, we got our community into this one very, very early, 30 cents. It's at $1.30 now. Very, very good. I think XLR is another one that, I mean, if you haven't already got your XLR, remember they could be making some announcements at what's it called? Cosmoverse in a couple of days. Back down at 58 cents. Probably a good one. Any other altcoins? I mean, we did speak yesterday about Baked. So thank you to those people who actually joined the spaces. Baked showing amazing relative strength, $20 million market cap. For those of you who missed the announcement, what we announced yesterday on the spaces around Baked is the following. What we know is that exchange revenue is the most reliable revenue in crypto, and that everybody in this ecosystem trades on exchanges, right? And so what we decided to do around Baked was to say that a whole lot of people traded on exchanges, signed up to certain exchanges, and traded on those exchanges to get Baked airdrop, right? And so we made money out of that. And so what we decided to do was to take a portion of the money that we made on the trading fees, not only on trading Baked, but on every token that you traded through your Blowfin account, through your ByBit account. And we're going to use that revenue to buy and burn Baked tokens on the market every single month. But it doesn't end there. If you guys want to burn more tokens, go to the Baked website, click on this link over here. You will get a list of exchanges where you can open up accounts. And so number one, in order for these exchanges to participate, they have to list Baked. So Blowfin's listed Baked already. And so now what's going to happen is you can sign up for Blowfin here, and you don't need KYC. It's got amazing pairs. It's an amazing exchange. And every time you trade, no matter what you trade, a portion of those fees goes to buying back and burning Baked tokens on the market. So the more friends that you get to sign up with these links, and there's a link there, and there's also a link somewhere here. Here we go. Sign up here with this link over here. Every time you trade, let's say you buy Baked tokens, right? You buy Baked tokens, you hold Baked tokens. Then you go and trade using one of those links. And every time you trade, not only this month, but from now until the end of time, every time you trade, a percentage of your fees gets paid back to us. We use a significant portion of that to actually buy and burn Baked tokens on the market. So what we're turning Baked into is the ultimate exchange token, because it's going to ultimately be linked to ByBit revenues, Blowfin revenues, CoinW revenues, Mexi revenues. They're all listing the token, by the way. And so we're going to have a lot of listings. We're going to have a lot of buyback and burn opportunities. And I think that that's going to drive the Baked price up. We're going to give Baked a full shot. Now, are we neglecting Gummy? No, we're not neglecting Gummy at all. Just this is Baked's campaign. Gummy's campaign, Gummy's day will come. Gummy's campaign's coming. But for now, we do have an amazing campaign on Baked. Also, we're going to be throwing a lot of parties and physical get-togethers around Baked. Similar to what Iggy did with Mother. A lot of this I was inspired by Iggy and what she did. And I kind of said, you know what, if Iggy can do it, there's no reason why we can't do it. We have a much bigger presence than her in crypto. And so we're going to start supporting Baked, and we're going to go all in on Baked. We've got a lot of influencers behind us. We've got a lot of exchanges behind us. I think watch this space. I think if any token has the probability of actually going up like to 100, maybe $200 million market cap, I think this is the one. This is the one. All right. Anything else? Remember World Series of Trading? Join our... Okay, we only got 13 members in our community. No, come on, guys. I'm counting on you to go and sign up. Go and sign up for our community. Again, the link is over here. If you don't already have a link to sign up here, but otherwise register with this link over here. 37. Okay. Keep signing up, keep signing up, keep signing up. Let's make this the biggest English-speaking team in the world. We have to win this campaign. $10 million. $10 million. It'll be, it's going to be big, big, big. All right, guys, I will see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, if you're Jewish, I wish you guys a Shana Tova. I wish you guys a happy new year, and I wish you guys a peaceful and prosperous new year. And if you're anything else but Jewish, I wish you just peace. That's what I wish you. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends.